Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast with Dylan and Akram. For this episode, we are reviewing The Crowded Room on Apple TV Plus, starring Tom Holland. I gotta admit, I got a lot of things to say about this show. I really enjoyed it, but Akram, I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Yo, it was a cool show, really. It started off a little slow at first, but I think it really picked up, and the surprise twist really gets you questioning a lot of things, and I'm sure you're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of that. The performances were solid. I think this may be Tom Holland's last performance for a while. He's going to take a break. He's gonna burn in hell. No, but for the most part, I think I like seeing Tom Holland in these types of roles. I feel like it really challenges him, and I think he pulled it off really well. So for the most part, it's a solid show.
Yeah, solid performances from Tom. I like that he's pushing himself into these darker roles, like he was in Cherry and what was that movie? The Devil's Always With Me or some shit. I forget. Yeah. Amanda Seyfried too. I liked her as Rya. I think she kind of complimented his character a lot. It's kind of like this doctor-patient relationship. And yeah, it is a bit slow in the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little bored the first couple episodes, and I know a lot of people, when I was reading reviews for it, said like it was kind of mid, but it's a show where you might not enjoy it at first, but at first glance, but I promise you, spend some time with it because I feel like it pays off at the end. I feel like, I swear to God, like at the end of the show, I feel like a fucking detective. I felt like I solved world hunger or some shit. I felt like Oppenheimer, like solving the bomb or some shit. No, but it's like, and mind you, I didn't know what it was about going into it. I started doing research like halfway or like towards the later half of the season.
Right.
It is based on a book, which is actually also based on a real life person named Billy Milligan, who has dissociative personality disorder. And once I started looking into it, I started reading between the lines of the show, and I started noticing little details in some of the past episodes, and I'm like, oh shit! Like I felt like Charlie Day with the connect the dots board. Sylvia. Right? Yeah. I was like, oh fuck! Like I started realizing things, and that's why I said like spend some time with it, because once you get to like I think like episode 5 or 6, you start real because Tom Holland's character, Danny, he crafts this story, right? So the first episode, he's with this girl named Ariana, and they're about to commit this murder, right? He gets caught, and then you see he spends some time with his psychiatrist, right? She's trying to get to like the core of this story, why he did all this, right? And he has different accounts, and some of them are like so exaggerated, like you can't believe like what he's saying. He's like an unreliable narrator, basically. And I'm thinking to myself, is he just crazy? Does he not really believe some of the stuff or does he really believe it, right? Because there's certain characters that like are too convenient that they know each other and they're in his life. So then I started watching, and I started getting more into like the story. And it's a really, really sad story, actually, what happened to this character. I don't know if this happened to the actual guy in real life, but if it was, wow, holy shit. And that's another thing too. They in the beginning of each episode or the end of each episode, they actually have a support link at the end for I think like victims of mental health or sexual abuse. So I thought that was really cool that they added that. But yeah, I started getting into it, and then I'm like, oh shit, this actually makes a lot of sense. Like why he has these different accounts, because Danny, spoilers ahead, has himself a dissociative personality disorder, so he can't remember a lot of the accounts that he gives because he actually wasn't there when it happened. And then it just makes so much sense, like why he has these different moments and he has all these different personas, right? So he has Ariana, so she kind of like represents his inability to cope with loneliness because he had very traumatic childhood, right? And he didn't know how to deal with that by himself, so he kind of invented this personality. He has Yitzhak, who's like this like strong Israeli dude, and it's kind of like his outlet for bullies or like when he's like feeling trapped, right? He has a plethora of personas, and I think it's really cool how they kind of incorporate. I've only seen this in maybe like Moon Knight with Mark Spector, but it's the same person, right? And here it's different actors portraying his personas. I think that's a really cool interpretation of that.
Yeah, and of course the performances had to be really strong too, so it just adds to it. Let's talk a little bit about tone, because I think that's really cool that Apple TV, they deal with different tones and genres. What did you think about the tone from The Crowded Room?
The tone was pretty, I don't know. It feels like definitely like, I don't know how to describe it. I when I saw the poster, I was trying to get a feel for it, what the show was about. And the poster is like this like checkerboard in different colors. Now I understand it going into it. I'm like, okay, the colors are supposed to represent like his different personas and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it feels like in the beginning, it was a little more lighthearted. It felt like it was like a coming of age story. Maybe that's perhaps why I kind of like fell off a little bit, because I thought, oh, maybe is this like another like coming of age movie turned bad situation. But then it starts getting darker and darker, and then you realize this traumatic experience where Danny was sexually abused when he was younger, and then that kind of like pops in my head, like, oh, this is why all these events are happening. And you know, it's hard to portray that on screen sometimes without making the audience feel uncomfortable, but somehow they manage to make it, you know, very sympathetic, but also like warm. Like a lot of these situations, like where he's actually talking to his alter egos. It's like, these are his only friends, right? These are the people that, you know, protect him. And it's fucked up to say, but I was actually laughing at one point because there's a scene where he has a party at his house and all his personas are there. And you think they're actually like actual characters. Right. So you think like they're his friends. And he's like smoking a cig and having a beer. And come to find out, he's just at a table by himself.
Yeah.
He's like, holy shit. At an empty table.
Wow, yeah.
That's why I say it's so funny, but it's so dark at the same time. And I think they actually, when I researched this show, I think they wanted to make a movie out of it a long time ago. And I think they were thinking about casting Leo DiCaprio as Danny. I actually wondered how his performance would have been in this type of role. But I think Tom Holland, I think he's still a young actor, but he's still, every role I've seen him, he brings something different to the table. And I think this was definitely the role that like kind of pushed him out of his comfort zone a little bit. I hope it doesn't make him like too uncomfortable, because now, you know, he said he wants to quit acting or whatever. So I hope, you know, this show didn't push him too over the edge. But it is a very demanding role, and it's hard. Like I said, with the Beau is Afraid thing, sometimes it's hard portraying somebody with like mental health issues. But he did a phenomenal job. You know, not just playing Danny, but playing like all these different personas. Even though they're actually like they casted different people for the personas, at the end of the day, it's still Danny. You know, doing this to himself. So yeah, I thought it was really cool how he portrayed it.
Yeah, and kudos to like the editing and stuff like that too, because to pull this type of story off, you know, it's kind of sensitive, and I'm sure this had to be kept a secret. Unfortunately, this didn't get too much marketing as well. I bet a lot of people missed this show, and it's a shame because I think people should check it out. Even if it does have a Rotten Tomato score of 33%, I still think you should check it out. Yeah, I think it's worth to wait for the surprise, you know, and like putting together pieces.
Yeah, I'd say if you know a little bit of what it's about going into it, perhaps the twist won't surprise you as much. If you're like me, who didn't know anything about it until like later, you might be like surprised. But I think like the performances and the fact that they hold a twist till like later on in the show. It makes it more enjoyable. It's like a reward for like you trying to figure out like certain pieces. I just hope Hollywood doesn't try to, because I noticed this a lot, like when we did Dahmer and there was like another the Ted Bundy movie. I hope Hollywood isn't trying to like purposely like romanticize like mentally ill people with like these very young actors. You ever notice that? They always get like these young, like handsome guys to like portray these like very sick people.
You're right. Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think Tom gives a stellar performance, and the rest of the cast was great. We had some surprise actors in here. We had Emmy Rossum, Jason Isaacs. I didn't expect to be. Also, Layla Robbins from The Boys. It was great cast, great performances, and a really, really great story.
Yeah, for sure. What would you rate this?
This gets 10 out of 10 for me, to be honest. I think everything just worked, and it was, like I said, it was really rewarding at the end. going through this character's journey and seeing like all the different accounts, and it makes you feel like a detective almost, like trying to piece together this account and then kind of merge this story into one story, right? But how about Chet? How about you?
Yeah, I would give it a good 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed the story. I'm glad you're the one who actually got me to watch this show. So that kudos to you too. I mean, again, we try to review different platforms like Apple TV and stuff like that. We kind of have bad luck with like, Hello Tomorrow, but we did go Silo. So this is our third. And we will have a fourth Apple TV Plus show, Hijack, coming soon to a podcast near you. Anyways, that is our review for The Crowded Room. Now streaming on Apple TV Plus. If you guys like this video, actually like this video. And be sure to check out our other content. We have a lot of videos coming out. My goodness, we just wrapped out Secret Invasion. We just reviewed Twisted Metal, The Witcher Part 2. And we have a vlog video from San Diego Comic-Con. I cannot wait for you guys to see that. That's our first vlog-movie. It's going to be really cool. Dylan, take us away.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, we have a plethora of content, guys. We did so many reviews this past week, and yeah, we have a vlog coming up. I can't wait for you guys to see it. We're so busy, guys. Let us know what you thought of The Crowded Room. Leave a like, help the channel any way you can, because we're still a pretty new channel, but we're getting there, guys, and we want to do plenty of more reviews for you guys. We have a lot of shows coming up in the next couple of months that we want to cover. A lot of movies, a lot of shows, events as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and until then, thanks for having lunch with us. See you guys.